when we hire people, I always ask them the question around what are their hobbies. And I find the designers who are into cooking or writing or music or telling like little different languages are much more interesting in the concepts that they come up with, that designers that are obsessed with design, that they just look at design, they focus on design, and all they do is sort of cycle in that same world. So I think it's very interesting when you combine these different pieces, because that, for me, ultimately is what makes something really, really interesting, because it's not exactly the same as everything you've ever seen. There's suddenly this slightly different angle, which is intriguing. It's familiar, but it's got something new and interesting and exciting that you try to sort of understand.
Absolutely. And I think that's so important what you just said, Ross. I always tell my design students, do not study, do not look at design. Go
Mm.
outside, read a literature book, go to an exhibition, an art exhibition, go for a walk in the park. I mean, all of that is going to be so much productive than you know
Looking at
and
other.
there is a tendency for graphic designers in particular to it's kind of a very, we look at it, it's this constant cycle of design, and it's just really hard to break out of it. Whereas the ones, as you say, that are actually a lot more interesting in general and whose work is more exciting because of it are the people that look everywhere else, and
Mm.
that have richer personal stories as a result of that.
I also don't think that it's necessarily just the designers that's important with. I mean, we find the clients that are obsessed with their competitors and their markets do less interesting stuff than people who are looking completely differently, because it's the one who is whatever creating chemicals but behaves like a fashion brand that is really interesting in the chemicals market, and the fashion brand that behaves like a restaurant is more interesting than the other. I think this is not just a design thing. I think it's important for companies to sort of look outside of their world too, and pull in kind of inspiration, or at least let their creative people do that for them.
Yeah, that's so true. Absolutely, Ross. There's this. What's this brand? Is it Death? It's a drink. It's a
Liquid Death.
liquid Death. And I was reading about it when it came out, and because the CEO or the founder basically loves Metallica, and he brought in his passion into this soft drink world, and
Mm.
it was so refreshing and different, and it
Mm.
was a
It's not
phenomenal
just a blue
success.
plastic bottle or a glass bottle with some
Exactly.
sort of a serif font on the front, looking very fresh
Looking
and
very fresh
crisp
and
and
just
clean.
different to everything else that's out there, and it was an instant
Mm.
success. But it was all, a part of his passion, his personal story, and also the courage to do things differently, because there's a tendency for everybody to in brands to do what has been done before, because that's the safe thing, because that has worked
Mm.
before, it means it's going to work again, and that's what leads to everything looking exactly the same.